Williams family has long stood as one of country music's most revered dynasties, a lineage that began with the iconic Hank Williams Sr. and was carried forward by Hank Williams Jr., known for their unparalleled influence on the genre. The family has captivated fans with their music, resilience, and a legacy built on tradition. But beneath the surface of this storied name lies a shocking revelation that has left fans and the music world reeling. Hank Williams Jr.'s son has come forward with a startling claim. He was banned by his own family. This bombshell has sparked intense curiosity and debate, raising questions about what could have driven the Williams family, known for their shared legacy and values, to take such a drastic step. How could a family so celebrated for their unity and strength become divided in such a public and dramatic way? The revelation has shed light on a rift that had been hidden from the public eye for years. As Hank Jr.'s son shares his story, he exposes the complexities of living under the weight of a legendary family name. His candid account reveals a world of intense expectations, personal struggles, and ultimately, a decision that fractured his relationship with those closest to him. Today, we'll delve into the untold story behind this family rift. What led to this dramatic fallout? How has it impacted the Williams family's legacy? And what does it say about the pressures of fame, tradition, and individuality? Let's uncover the truth behind one of country music's most shocking family feuds. The Williams family name is more than just a symbol of country music excellence. It's a dynasty. It all began with Hank Williams Sr., the legendary singer-songwriter who revolutionized the genre with his raw, heartfelt lyrics and timeless melodies. From In Your Cheatin' Heart to I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, Hank Sr.'s songs defined a generation and cemented his place as one of the most influential figures in music history. But his life, tragically cut short at just 29, left an unfillable void that would define his family for decades. After Hank Sr.'s untimely death, his young son Hank Williams Jr. inherited a legacy that most could only dream of, but it came with an enormous price. From a young age, Hank Jr. was groomed to carry his father's torch. He performed his father's songs, mimicked his style, and stepped into the spotlight as the heir to the Williams legacy. Fans saw him as the living embodiment of his father's greatness, and while this connection initially brought him fame, it also shackled him to a path that wasn't entirely his own. Hank Jr. eventually broke free from the shadow of his father's legacy, carving out a career that was uniquely his. With his rock-infused sound, rebellious image, and hits like A Family Tradition and A Country Boy Can Survive, Hank Jr. created his own identity. He became an icon in his own right, standing shoulder to shoulder with the legends of outlaw country. But the pressures of living up to his father's name never truly disappeared, and those same pressures were passed down to the next generation. For Hank Jr.'s children, being a part of the Williams family meant inheriting both the privileges and the burdens of a legacy built on stardom, tragedy, and perseverance. The Williams name opened doors but also came with immense expectations. From the outside, the family seemed united by their shared heritage and love for music, but inside, the dynamics were far more complicated. Hank Jr., known for his strong convictions and larger-than-life persona, was a father who instilled a deep respect for the family's values and traditions. His children were raised with the understanding that their actions reflected not just on themselves, but on the Williams name. For some, this sense of responsibility became a source of pride, a reason to embrace music as a way to honor their heritage. For others, it became a source of conflict, a reminder of the weight they were expected to carry simply because of their name. One of Hank Jr.'s sons, in particular, struggled to find his place within this iconic lineage. Growing up in the shadow of two legendary figures, his grandfather, Hank Sr., and his father, Hank Jr., he faced extraordinary pressure to uphold the family's reputation. But rather than finding inspiration in this legacy, he often felt constrained by it. While his siblings embraced the family's traditions, he longed to forge his own identity, one that wasn't defined solely by the Williams name. As he grew older, the tensions between his individual aspirations and his family's expectations began to surface. Hank Jr.'s strong personality and unyielding commitment to tradition sometimes clashed with his son's desire for independence. These differences created rifts that simmered below the surface for years, fueled by disagreements over lifestyle choices, career paths, and personal beliefs. The weight of these expectations didn't just affect Hank Jr.'s son. It became a source of tension within the entire family. In a dynasty as public and celebrated as the Williamses, every decision carried added scrutiny, both from within the family and from the outside world. The son's attempts to carve out his own path were seen by some as defiance, while others viewed them as a natural response to the immense pressure of living under such a famous name. For Hank Jr.'s son, This struggle wasn't just about living up to the family name. It was about finding his own voice in a world that constantly compared him to the legends who came before him. While he respected his family's legacy, he also felt the need to break free from it, to create a life that reflected his own values and aspirations, rather than the expectations placed upon him. This internal conflict eventually created cracks in the family's united front, setting the stage for deeper divisions that would come to light in the years to follow. The Williams family, long seen as a symbol of unity and resilience, was now grappling with the very same issues that affect countless families: identity, expectations, and the balance between tradition and individuality. As the tensions grew, Hank Jr.'s son began to feel increasingly isolated from the family. His choices and beliefs, while authentic to him, were seen as a challenge to the values that had long defined the Williams legacy. What started as small disagreements escalated into larger conflicts, creating emotional distance and unresolved resentment. The weight of the Williams legacy, which had been a source of strength for so many years, was now becoming a source of division. And for Hank Jr.'s son, the journey to find himself would eventually lead to a dramatic turning point, one that would change the family dynamic forever. As the Williams family navigated the complex dynamics of fame and legacy, tensions within their inner circle began to grow. For Hank Williams Jr.'s son, being part of a legendary lineage was both a blessing and a burden. While the family name opened doors and connected him to country music's greatest legacy, it also came with immense expectations that would ultimately spark a conflict powerful enough to fracture their bond. The divide didn't happen overnight. It was the result of years of differences that steadily widened the gap between Hank Jr. and his son. At the heart of the issue were opposing values and life choices. Hank Jr., known for his traditional views and strong personality, upheld the Williams legacy with pride. He believed in family loyalty, discipline, and respect for the traditions that had built their name. For his son, however, those expectations felt stifling. He wanted to live life on his own terms, unburdened by the weight of the family name and free to forge his own path. The first signs of tension emerged as Hank Jr.'s son began to challenge the family's expectations. Unlike some of his siblings, who embraced the family legacy and followed the path laid out for them, he sought independence. He explored interests outside of music, expressed views that clashed with his father's, and made lifestyle choices that were seen as defying the values that had defined the Williams family for generations. For Hank Jr., these choices were more than just personal. They were public. As a family whose name carried a legacy of country music greatness, every action by its members was under scrutiny, both within the industry and among fans. Hank Jr. reportedly saw his son's actions as a challenge to the unity and image of the Williams name. While he respected individuality, he also believed in protecting the family's reputation, and his son's choices often seemed to him like a rejection of the values he held dear. The growing rift wasn't limited to private disagreements. Social media brought the tension into the public eye. Hank Jr.'s son occasionally used platforms like Instagram and Facebook to share his thoughts and experiences, hinting at conflicts within the family. These posts, while often cryptic, gave fans a glimpse into the struggles brewing behind closed doors. Some posts alluded to feeling misunderstood, while others suggested frustration with the expectations placed upon him as a member of the Williams family. Fans began to take notice. The Williams family, long admired for their resilience and unity, suddenly seemed more human, grappling with the same conflicts and challenges that affect many families. While some fans sympathized with Hank Jr.'s son, seeing his desire for independence as a natural response to the pressures of fame, others viewed his actions as disrespectful to the family legacy. The situation escalated when private disagreements became impossible to contain. Insiders close to the family suggest that heated arguments about lifestyle, beliefs, and public behavior eventually reached a breaking point. For Hank Jr., the tension wasn't just about his son's choices. It was about protecting the legacy his father had built and ensuring that the Williams name continued to represent the values fans had come to associate with it. For his son, it was about standing up for himself and finding his own identity, even if it meant going against the grain. The final straw came when Hank Jr. and other family members reportedly decided to impose boundaries, limiting their contact with his son. According to sources, this decision was made to preserve the family's unity and protect its legacy, but it left Hank Jr.'s son feeling excluded and betrayed. The estrangement deepened, with family gatherings and events taking place without him, creating a physical and emotional distance that seemed impossible to bridge. It wasn't long before Hank Jr.'s son decided to speak out. In a candid statement shared publicly, he revealed that he had been banned by his family. The revelation sent shockwaves through the country music world, as fans grappled with the idea of such a storied family being divided in such a dramatic way. For Hank Jr.'s son, Speaking out was a way to express the pain he had carried in silence, giving a voice to the struggles he faced as a member of the Williams family. His public disclosure was emotional and raw. He shared how the estrangement had affected him, describing the isolation he felt and the difficulty of being disconnected from the very people he had once thought would always stand by him. He emphasized that his choices were never meant to disrespect his family or its legacy, but were an attempt to live authentically and find his own happiness. The revelation ignited debates among fans and within the industry. Some praised his bravery for speaking out, commending his honesty and vulnerability. Others criticized the decision to air private family matters publicly, arguing that such disputes should remain behind closed doors. The division among fans mirrored the division within the family itself, with no easy resolution in sight. As the dust settled, one thing became clear. The rift between Hank Williams Jr. and his son wasn't just a personal matter. It was a story that highlighted the challenges of living under the shadow of a legendary name. The pressures of fame, tradition, and individuality had collided, leaving the Williams family at a crossroads and fans wondering if reconciliation was even possible. When Hank Williams Jr.'s son publicly revealed that he had been banned by his own family, the news sent shockwaves through the country music community. For decades, the Williams family had been a symbol of resilience and tradition, a dynasty that endured personal tragedies and thrived in the face of adversity. But this revelation painted a very different picture, one of division, heartbreak, and a legacy under strain. The public disclosure came as a surprise to many fans, who had long admired the Williams family for their strong bond and shared commitment to country music. When Hank Jr.'s son broke his silence, he didn't hold back, sharing his side of the story in emotional and vulnerable detail. He spoke openly about the pain of feeling excluded, the weight of living up to the family name, and the choices that led to his estrangement. For fans, it was a rare and raw glimpse into the private struggles of a family that had always seemed larger than life. In his statement, Hank Jr.'s son expressed his frustration with the expectations placed upon him as a member of the Williams dynasty. He described how he had tried to balance respect for his family's legacy with his desire to live authentically and pursue his own path. But those efforts, he claimed, were often met with criticism and judgment, creating a rift that eventually became too wide to bridge. One of the most striking aspects of his revelation was his candid acknowledgement of the emotional toll it took on him. He shared how the estrangement had left him feeling isolated and misunderstood, cut off from the people he thought would always support him. His words resonated with many fans, particularly those who understood the challenges of navigating family conflicts and expectations. For some, his vulnerability was a reminder that even those born into fame and fortune face struggles that are deeply personal and universally relatable. The response to his public disclosure was swift and polarizing. On one side, many fans rallied around him, applauding his bravery for speaking out and expressing empathy for his situation. They commended him for having the courage to share his truth, even if it meant exposing deeply personal family matters. These supporters viewed his story as a testament to the difficulty of balancing individuality with the expectations of a storied family legacy. On the other side, critics questioned the decision to make such private matters public. Some fans felt that airing the family's conflicts in such a public way was disrespectful and unnecessary, arguing that such issues should be resolved privately. This division in fan reactions underscored the complexity of the situation, with no clear right or wrong side. The media, meanwhile, seized on the story, amplifying the drama and digging deeper into the Williams family's history. Headlines speculated about the events leading up to the rift, while social media became a platform for heated discussions about loyalty, independence, and the challenges of living in the shadow of a legendary name. For Hank Williams Jr.'s son, sharing his story was more than just a way to express his pain. It was also an opportunity to reclaim his voice and assert his individuality. But for the Williams family, the public nature of the revelation undoubtedly added another layer of complexity to an already strained relationship. Whether the disclosure will lead to reconciliation or further division remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: the Williams family is no stranger to navigating the complexities of legacy, fame, and the deeply human struggles that come with them. The public revelation of a rift within the Williams family sent ripples through both the country music industry and its devoted fan base. For decades, the Williams name had symbolized unity, tradition, and resilience, a family that stood as the bedrock of country music. But when Hank Williams Jr.'s son disclosed his estrangement, the public's perception of the family shifted, sparking heated debates and intense reactions. Fans who had long admired the Williams family for their musical contributions and seemingly unbreakable bond were divided in their responses. Many rallied behind Hank Jr.'s son, praising his honesty and courage in speaking out about such a deeply personal issue. For these supporters, his vulnerability was a stark reminder that even legendary families face struggles behind closed doors. They empathized with his desire to assert his individuality in the face of immense pressure. Viewing his disclosure as an act of bravery, social media quickly became the epicenter of fan discussions. Supporters shared heartfelt messages, commending Hank Jr.'s son for voicing the difficulties of living in the shadow of an iconic family legacy. Some fans drew parallels to their own experiences with family conflicts, finding his story deeply relatable. Others appreciated his willingness to challenge the notion of perfection often projected by famous families, bringing a new layer of humanity to the Williams legacy. However, not everyone was supportive. Critics questioned the decision to make such private family matters public, arguing that disputes should be resolved within the family rather than aired for the world to see. Some viewed the disclosure as a betrayal of the family's values and a move that risked tarnishing the legacy Hank Sr. and Hank Jr. had worked so hard to build. For these fans, the public nature of the revelation felt unnecessary and damaging to the family's image. The country music industry also took notice of the drama. Industry insiders, journalists, and fellow artists weighed in on the situation, offering a mix of support and caution. While some praised Hank Jr.'s son for shedding light on the challenges of growing up in a legendary family, others expressed concern about the potential long-term impact on the Williams name. Documentaries, podcasts, and media outlets began revisiting the family's history, analyzing the dynamics that may have contributed to the rift, and exploring how the revelation fit into the broader narrative of the Williams dynasty. For many, the revelation became a springboard for larger discussions about the pressures of fame and legacy. The Williams family had always been seen as a pillar of authenticity in country music, but this public conflict reminded fans and industry figures alike that even icons face deeply personal challenges. It also sparked debates about the expectations placed on children of celebrities, particularly those born into families with storied legacies. How does one honor a family name while also carving out a distinct identity? And what happens when those two goals collide? Despite the mixed reactions, one thing was clear. The revelation had added a new dimension to the Williams family story. It showed that behind the fame and accolades lay a family grappling with the same complexities and conflicts that affect families everywhere. For fans, this made the Williams family feel more relatable, even as it complicated the narrative they'd come to admire. As the dust settled, the question lingered. Would the Williams family find a way to reconcile? Or was the divide too deep to repair? For Hank Jr.'s son, speaking out was a step toward reclaiming his voice and asserting his identity. For fans in the industry, it was a reminder that even the brightest stars cast shadows, and the struggles behind the scenes are often as compelling as the music they create. The revelation of a rift within the Williams family has added a complex new chapter to one of country music's most storied legacies. For decades, the Williams name stood as a symbol of resilience, unity, and tradition, a dynasty that overcame personal tragedies to become icons of the genre. But this recent disclosure from Hank Williams Jr.'s son has shed light on the human side of fame, exposing the challenges of living under immense pressure and the struggle to balance legacy with individuality. For Hank Jr.'s son, speaking out was more than just a way to share his pain. It was a declaration of independence, a step toward finding his own voice in the shadow of a legendary name. For Hank Jr. and the rest of the family, the situation serves as a stark reminder of the cost of preserving tradition and the difficult decisions that come with it. The divide has left fans and industry insiders grappling with questions about loyalty, family expectations, and the limits of personal freedom. As the Williams family navigates this public rift, fans can only hope that time and understanding will bring healing. The Williams name remains a cornerstone of country music, a legacy built on honesty, emotion, and connection. This conflict, while painful, is a testament to the complexities of being both artists and a family bound by tradition. Will the family find a way to reconcile, or has this rift forever changed their story? Only time will tell.